Imagine waking up and seeing John Foley's arse in the air, like, oh my god!
Alright, I think that's a pretty good point actually to start this episode.
Rip John Foley.
Welcome everyone to episode 6.
Is it episode 6?
I think we are.
Actually, last week we went, oh my god, it's episode 5. There just can't be a new feature where we just go like, oh my god, how do we make it this far?
Oh my god, is it episode 88 right now? Oh my god.
Man, it feels like episode 2, back in the day. Back in the days of that poor sound quality that we're currently rocking. The like unprofessionalism of slamming coffee cups down on the table.
Lads, if you stick it out with us for the next like 20 episodes, we might eventually be able to afford a good mic.
Man, do we make promises with your mouth that your wallet can't cash?
Wallet can cash nothing, man.
I don't know, you're winning some cash beans at the moment.
I actually am.
You won more money during the week.
I actually did.
Hang on, we have a list here of stuff we want to talk about, but I just remembered you won more money this week.
I blew it instantly.
Oh, we can't. It's kind of like that. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, let's get this shit clear.
Let's get all our weird coughs out.
Yeah, let's get back. Right, housekeeping, the usual.
Okay, first of all, right. I mean,
big news.
We've had a bit of an upset in terms of the funding of this podcast, which is still currently 0. But we'd just like to say a big fuck you to Voice Record Pro, right? Not only are we using Voice Record Pro right now,
knackers.
right now we're using Voice Record Pro, right? Okay, but that's only because we haven't really done any research into an alternative. But fuck you, Voice Record Pro. We got a new favourite, Audacity, right? You download Audacity for your Windows computer right now, and
it's quality.
Oh my god, it's amazing. It's the best software that's ever been invented. It just works exactly what you want to do. You can do everything you can want to do when it comes to editing audio files. It's just perfect.
It's the best thing for editing audio at the moment. Until that check clears. If that thing bounces, we'll leave that to next week and we'll find out. At the moment, fuck VRP, Audacity, heart us.
Yeah, if you guys listen to that amazing intro sound we recorded for the last episode.
Not the heart bomb that happened last week, but what an intro sound again.
Oh my god.
That was one of our only comments from last week is, lads, you talked way too much about how good your intro sound was. It wasn't that good. But
but Cian, fuck you. Our intro sound was unreal.
It's because we layered it and shit. We put so much effort into it. The stuff that are just people didn't notice.
Mog listened to it and he's like, we used to recording each other taking shits. And I was like, no, none of that was it. Anyway.
Yeah. I have to apologise also for this housekeeping because I didn't post on Instagram. I mean, our Instagram account user didn't.
Yeah, our editor.
The person we hired to post on Instagram did not post on Instagram.
See, the thing is, we hired them from VRP and then VRP are shit. So.
Yeah, since we're in a legal dispute with them at the moment.
It's actually a Jobsbridge intern, so it is.
In fairness, he's trying to raise 4 kids at the same time. Things slip through the cracks.
He does deal heroin, so that kind of keeps him alive and dead. But.
Rip Paul.
Named after John Paul, of course.
Because that's what every heroin dealer's name is. JP3. Right.
How many Instagram followers do we have actually? Does anyone care that we didn't put
I think at last count we either had 19 posts and 13 followers, or 13 posts and 19 followers.
I really hope it's 19 followers, because we look sad if we have way more posts than.
In fact, we posted a little burst of 10 at a go.
Fair.
Not last week though. Rip, sorry. Yeah.
Rip, sorry.
I didn't. Sorry, from Paul.
Rip whatever it needs to be ripped for that not going up.
Yeah. Right, let's get to the business end. Let's get to the big bullet points of this week. We got a few. We kind of slapped this together as per usual.
Yeah, Clooney absolutely filled the page right. I always leave the organising of what we're going to talk about. I leave that to Clooney, and he actually filled the page.
I think it's because I have just a load of shit running around in my head. So as I'm just sitting there, it's like, oh, we can do this. Oh, we can do this. And if you were trying to do it, I'd be just annoying you. So. I think if I just write it down, and then Jake writes the stuff that he wants to do on his arm. We done this thing a while ago where we used to go out, get really drunk and skagged, and bring a pen, and we'd write on our arms and each other's arms what we were thinking during the night. And you wake up and you're like drunk. You left a message to sober you.
Yeah, it's really good.
You wake up with some weird shit in your arms.
You do.
Weird stuff, mental stuff. We took some good pictures of them actually before. I don't know where they are, but I remember taking pictures of my arms. Pictures of my arms.
Nice tries, man.
Yeah. I'm in a wife beater at the moment. Checking
himself out. Nice. Your tattoo's kind of greyed out.
Yeah, it's going to grade out a bit. I have a bad rash. Look at this rash.
Oh, you got like a beard rash on your chest.
Yeah, it's like the hair grew up because I had to shave it for the tattoo and it grew back in. But it got really itchy because I was putting all this cream on it. And I was allergic to one of them. I'm still unsure which one, so I don't know which one to not use. Got itchy as fuck the last couple of days. For
those of you that don't know, Clooney's about as hairy as like a 14-year-old Italian man.
Yeah.
That's about where Clooney is.
Or a 25-year-old Persian man.
Yeah, there you go. Clooney actually is a 25-year-old Persian man.
Yeah. Rip Ottoman Empire.
Now, this episode, Clooney came to me and was like, we had this kind of discussion about some serious stuff we're going to talk about. So we're going to get like some serious shit in at the start. And the first of them is that college is absolutely doing both of our nuts in.
We're super fucking busy.
It's like college is just full on.
It's the busiest I think I've ever been in college.
I'm actually neck deep in college. I couldn't important shit has happened in my life that I needed to like sit and think about, and I don't have the time in my day to sit down and have just thought about stuff. Like when I go to bed tired because I've been doing shit up to the very last second, and I fall into bed tired and just pass out. Then I wake up and I have to rush to get ready to college and then just run in. And
like thinking about shit like that it's like going to the gym or something. It has a genuinely physical effect on you. Like if you go to bed thinking of shit, you're not getting a good sleep. You're waking up the same shit on your head. You're not relaxed. You're not resting. So like today, I think both of us were thinking to ourselves, "Fuck, I don't want to do this podcast tonight." We both have too much stuff to do. Like I know the podcast might only last maybe an hour, but like we come here, we chat shit for it. Like it takes up 2.5 hours of our day, easy every time. And like it's a big time commitment when you have like fucking 5 minutes a day to eat and shit like that. Like today we both didn't want to do this really.
Well, it wasn't that you didn't want to do it. It was like, I think I'll be stressed out if I do this, and I was kind of just like this weight, and I didn't want it to feel like a weight, but it kind of did feel like it was going to be something in a way.
We both gave ourselves the opportunity to not do this. We put it up there like, both our inner bitch was both like, oh, we could leave it off. It's the same kind of mentality. When you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I could snooze that alarm. It's that kind of like bit of weakness in everyone that just tells you, oh, you can't do this or that. And I know me, I was like, I really don't want to do this today. We shouldn't do it and all that. But then I was just thinking, like, all this week's going to go by, and there's going to be no record of how fucking stressed we are and how shit this week was. Like, this week we kind of done fuck all. Actually, we put a lot of stuff down, but that's kind of stuff that happened. That whatever we done during the week didn't affect the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Like.
Yeah. Like, they're not things that we've done that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not like experience and stuff like that. It's more about commenting on other things. But because we didn't really do fuck all, because we were stuck doing college all week. But I was like saying to JP, walking up here today, and I was like, we should definitely do this. Like, I would rather get 10% less on an assignment and have this done. Because, like you were saying, you need time to think about shit like that. Shit that happened to you during the week. Shit that happened to me during the week. You need time to relax in the evening. And just, like, be able to sleep. Like, we're going to chat shit now for maybe the next hour. Then we're probably going to spend half an hour fucking uploading it like we do all the time. We take pictures afterwards of, like, the picture you'll see now on the YouTube and stuff like that. We do that afterwards. We chat shit, we relax. I always leave here with a smile on my face, relaxed. But we do a lot. I never leave here stressed.
It is good to just chat, and you like when you're chatting about this stuff and setting it all up and thinking about it, you actually free your mind from all that other shit that you have to be doing.
I thought it was really essential that we do this, and that we shouldn't give ourselves the opportunity to miss this. That, like, next week, for example, we can't do the podcast. I'm not in Ireland. We'll talk about that in a minute, but there's no way we can do it.
Yeah.
And it's not an excuse. It's a genuine thing. We can't do it.
Yeah. But like you were saying, if we were to just miss them, if our only excuse was we both were just kind of like too busy and couldn't find 2 hours to do it and take pictures and upload it and shit, that's just kind of, it's kind of just laziness. Yeah. It's like, actually, one of the
It's the inner bitch winning.
One of the senior OAs has this thing.
That's a Joe Rogan phrase as well. The inner bitch.
Inner bitch.
I'm just going to put it out there as a reference. I'm not going to take it as in it.
Hashtag JRE.
Hashtag JRE.
She has this thing where she says, because we were doing training and we would show, like, obviously everyone shows up like 2 minutes late. Yeah. And it was just a thing. And she's like, if you were 2 minutes late, that annoys me. Because you couldn't put that effort in to be 2 minutes. You don't care enough is when you come 2 minutes late. But if you arrived 40 minutes late, she's like, oh, what happened? And you're like, well, I missed the bus, whatever, or forgot it was on, or overslept, or something. It's an actual thing. But being 2 or 3 minutes late is you just don't give a fuck.
You didn't get off your phone 2 minutes earlier to get a shower and shit like that. Like,
yeah,
it's the simple, small stuff like that.
It's you did something extra that doesn't take any time instead of coming here. As in, like, I completely get it. I'll go and buy something in a vending machine instead and just be 2 minutes late. That's when you don't give a fuck. And that's what, like, we can't do this episode next week. That's not our fault. That's not us not giving a fuck. But if we were to just skip this one today, that would have been us just being 2 minutes late.
I think it's easy. It would have been easier today to not do it than do it. Where, like, some days, let's say we're bored, like, it's better for our day to do it. We're actively going out of our way to do this here. It wasn't easy to do it here because we really didn't want to, and we're busy.
Yeah, like, after this I'm going to have to stay up.
Yeah, we're going to have to stay up late. I'm going to have to run for a bus now, so get home, do some study and stuff like that. I'm going to get less sleep and stuff like that. We're both going to be put out of our way to do this.
But I'm very happy we decided to do it.
Definitely. And, like, but I think people should know that like, we are trying this shit. Like, we really want to do this because we both get something out of it.
Yeah.
And like we were talking, I think it was episode 2 we were saying, like, that I said, I don't really care if someone's listening. It's great, it's nice if someone's listening. Mm-hmm. I like it when some of the lads come up to me and said, that story you told the other day was funny, so that's...
Or when's the podcast coming out? That's kind of motivating.
It is, it's a nice feeling. That I said, I do them for me and for you. And that I'd like in a year's time to listen back to this episode now.
Absolutely.
And I think it would be really cool. I'd like in 10 years' time, like, it's permanent, it's here forever. Mm-hmm. It's like a little stamp on your day. Like, do you ever think about I'd love to know what I was thinking at 13 now.
Yeah,
you can't really remember. Because you change so gradually that you remember big jumps, but you don't remember, like, I changed a little bit every day for 2 years, what I was like 2 years ago.
You remember the time when, like, some big thing changed your life.
Yeah.
But you don't remember that time when you were thinking about how shitty homework was when you were...
Yeah, and you just gradually put...
Or what was on your mind when you were 14. Like, it's such petty shit, but, like, that was part of you.
This is a 2-hour chunk of our day that is now permanent. And I like the idea, but I like looking back at the weekends. And it's like a little baby we made. It's something that we have. Is this podcast our love baby?
We're going to adopt an actual love baby?
When we adopt a love baby, I want a little Chinese one.
Someone who just, like... China is just like, there's too many people in this country. Here's a little cute one.
Yeah, we absolutely get it.
That'll be class. Actually, speaking of not being able to do an episode next week, do you want to
so like
talk about where you're going?
Yeah, so why we can't do it next week is... Oh shit, no. Sorry about that. Scratchy throat. Next week, I'm going to Tenerife. Because I'm doing my final year project. We go to an observatory in Tenerife and I look at stars and shit like that.
But you're going, like, is it 2 kilometres or 3 kilometres above sea level? We're
going above the clouds, top of the mountain. It's freezing cold.
Very cool, though.
It's real fucking cool. Like, I'm giving out about it all week.
Speaking of which, actually, do you want to take this?
Oh, I might take that.
Yeah. It's a GoPro.
It's a GoPro.
I'll give you a memory card for it if you want.
I've used it before. I know how to use it. Remember, I used it for our project.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. We can talk about this after the action, because that's brilliant. I'm going to take that GoPro. Oh, I could bring up so much shit for the podcast. Instagram the shit. I'm going to put one. Anyone that's following the Visitor Park on Instagram and actually listens to this and doesn't follow me and Jake specifically, our Instagrams are amazing.
We're the ones that have liked every single photo on the whole.
Yeah, we're the ones called Sean and Jake too.
But yeah, so I was just thinking, I meant to say it to you the other day, you can get some serious pictures.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, anyway, I'll talk to you about that.
I'll get on that. That's really cool. I didn't even think of that. But I'm going from the final year project. Going to be looking at some blazars. It's a black hole that flashes. Don't want to get into any detail because it's boring as fuck.
So my project for final year is boring as fuck.
I actually don't even know which one it is. I know there's matrices and MATLAB in it. Or Mathematica, is it?
Mathematica. Yeah, I can tell you a bit about it, but
not on air. It's going to bore the fucking out of you.
Like, I actually don't even know what it's about. I'll tell you about that bloke. That bloke.
Yeah. I find my project kind of weird sometimes when I go in. Astro absolutely comes natural to me. That's the only thing I've ever had with physics that I can genuinely spoof and make sense. And that, like,
I can't notice that.
when we had to write proposals last week, so you have to write like 10 pages on what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, and why they should give you time on a legitimate fucking European telescope. Like, I get
Pretty legitimate.
I get 5 hours of data. We're only meant to have 3.5. I get 5 hours because I proposed something weird. I get to use an extra telescope that no one else gets to use.
That's fucking badass.
They're giving me data from the infrared telescope as well as the optical because it's applicable to my project.
Is this an ESA telescope?
Yeah, that's 2. I get to use 2 European Space Agency telescopes for extra time.
See, Astro's always going to be cooler than TP.
It is. It's going to be cooler. It's always cooler with the bitches. You see, you can go like, oh, look at the stars and shit. Jake, what do you do? I look at numbers and matrices. Get fucked.
We were talking to Grumwald today. He's one of the top dogs in UCD for theoretical physics. Not only that, but he's working with CERN. He's
not working with CERN. He's the head of the electroweak force in CERN.
He is massive, right? This guy is insane. And he was basically teaching...
He's a ball of German banter as well.
Oh, such man.
And latent homosexual sass.
Oh, that too. But he was telling us basically, like, he went through the methods of, like, a derivation of something. And he was like, this is what you do in all of particle physics and theoretical physics. You just do one of these and then work it out, and then you get this. And it's literally like the most dull method of all time. It's basically you just guess an equation and work it out and see does it work. Guess another one and see does it work. And then eventually you get one that works and then you go and check it. Then you spend millions checking it, it doesn't work. You come back and you do another one. It's literally just boards and boards, boring equations.
It's terrible. But like with my project, so I need to write these proposals. And they're
absolutely rude.
Apologies for that. I got a phone call. Do you want to actually pause this and I just text him back?
Alright, we go. Transsexual.
when we done that last week and you went transition, it was really cool. But when you said trans, I was like, oh my god, he's going to say transsexual out of nowhere.
That was Clooney's father. I know.
Rang again during the podcast. He is wrecking it on us.
He's actually the most regular visitor to the Visitor Parking Podcast.
Oh, nice segue there.
But
what was I talking about?
We were talking about your projects and the reason you won't be here, but also...
But I was talking about my proposal. So I was saying that it was really complicated and stuff like that. And I was saying that how it came natural to me. We were meant to be working on it for 4.5, 5 weeks. I started at 8 o'clock and it was due 6 o'clock the next day. So I started at 22 hours before it was meant to be done. I was the first person to hand it in. And he said it was way better than loads of other people's. And that he gave me this source and he gave me all this extra stuff. Like I said, my project was super interesting and I tried all this stuff that no one's ever tried before. And it's really doable. Like, it went class and it was the most slapped together piece of shit ever. Like, but I can just spoof that stuff with Astro and I get away with it.
Imagine that's what like Rudin and them. Do you know, there's like those blokes. Do you remember that what was his man? What was the name we called him? Like Sexy TP or whatever his name was. Just this really attractive lad in a band and he was also a wizard at TP.
I remember that fella.
Sexy Julian. He was just like, he's one of those blokes where you're just like, how does it all work out for you, man? He's just good looking and he's in this band, and then you're like, oh, surely he's like C average in college or whatever. Just walked in like, fucking late sometimes, skipped some lectures and shit, just blasted out like fucking A+.
I touched on this the last time. I'm 100% under my like theory in life is that everyone is on the same level. So I think some things are weighted more than others in society, like being good looking and being intelligent. So you see someone that's both really good looking and intelligent and popular, and you're like, their life's perfect, but they're lacking in other areas that people find fundamental. And I think everyone is balanced out to the perfect amount. So if you're super fucking rich, there's something else that's weighing you down.
Sure.
I think everyone is on the same level. That over the space of all the things you can be judged on, that everyone is spanned the same. So I think if you're a boring, ugly prick, that you're somewhere else, you probably have a massive dick. If you're way out somewhere else, like
you're really good at racquetball. Yeah, I was saying there is probably.
And I think
there's a lot of things to be judged on, so I think chances are it probably does average out.
I think it's down to how you sort out your life that you're working out the best for you. So like if you're a wizard of fucking racquetball but the rest of your life is shit, get in the situation where being a wizard of racquetball, it fucking affects your life. It doesn't affect my life at all. I don't really know what racquetball is. It's squash, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's the first word again, man. But you know, like, you ever see fucking someone who's really rich and famous or really good actor or something, and then they're like, you find out they're a cunt, and people are like, oh no. You're kind of like, most people are just kind of like, yeah, kind of expected it because he was so good, such a good actor, had to be something. Or like, you know, it comes out that so and so is having an affair or whatever, and it's just like, well, yeah, I suppose they're super rich. I'm sure they're obviously not perfect. No one's ever surprised when someone's not perfect. Yeah. So I think you could be right.
But like, I do know a lot of, and I remember seeing this a lot of time. Mainly good looking, smart, something good at sport and popular.
Can be super
like
depressed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. I know something like that. Things happen and like things are shit at home and they're super depressed and stuff like that. Like, I think stuff really does weigh out, and that I don't think you can look at anyone's life and go, I'm better off than them or they're better off than me. I genuinely...
Well, better off is one thing. But better.
Not even financially better. I mean, their life is better.
No, but I mean better. Like, I mean, they could be in a shitty situation. They just kind of haven't played towards their strengths or whatever.
Yeah.
That's why some people are happier in their lives and stuff, because they're not playing towards the things that they're strong at.
Yeah.
Well, if we're following the same road, but then like someone like that lad was good looking and good at TP, and like he made it so that he did TP and he kind of did well and whatever. But someone who was good at TP and then ended up doing an English degree and was kind of like alright at it isn't as happy, and they're not playing to their strengths, they're not doing as well, they're not better off.
But no, I think that they are both still equally as good, because maybe that fella
potentially as equal though.
No, I think actually as equal, and that even if you're not playing to as good, that maybe he had more fun doing it at that time, and I think things would balance out. And I genuinely think that if I stand here and I look at this millionaire cunt who's people would assume is having a better time than me, or like this homeless person or something like that, I think there's certain aspects that where people can be just balanced out, and that you shouldn't compare yourself to anyone else, because I think everyone's on the same level, and you should do is what you should just be trying make every aspect of your life better than it was yesterday, or as many as possible.
I think you're right. I think
we're going down that sort of dodgy road here now, that we can kill this podcast now pretty quick by talking about this for about an hour.
I think I'll just say one thing, right? Along the same line, right? I think happiness is like temperature, right? You'll feel it only when it's relative, right? So everyone has their baseline of happiness, quote unquote. And if you do something that makes you go above that, you'll feel like you're happy. And the further you are away from that line, the happier you are. And then same for sadness, going downwards. And for everyone, it balances out at that even line. And you can't really compare your baseline of happiness to someone else's baseline of happiness. You can only compare the differences. So like you said, even if under societal expectations, a homeless guy shouldn't be as happy, quote unquote, as a rich guy, right? They're compared to their relative line, they're gonna at some parts of their day be above it, and some parts of their day be below it. And you can spread that over a year, and on average they'll be at that line. And it might be like it's kind of opinion whether his baseline is better than the rich guy's or vice versa. But it's all about that relative difference between how he is standard, neutral, and how he is when he's sad and how he is when he's happy. Yeah, that's actually kind of behind my tattoo, is that idea that if you're super depressed or whatever, that I think that life overall will average you out. So like for every sad thing, you'll get enough happy things to weigh it out. Yeah, and if you're happy, to not kind of relish in it too much and be like, to kind of just keep your head and realise that you will be sad at some point, and to enjoy the happiness while it is there and not take it for granted and things like that. Yeah, I completely agree that it would balance out over a life, I think. Yeah. And yeah, I like that. That actually leads us into something that we were having a mad discussion about a few minutes ago. Just before we came in here. We were worried. I was worried. I was talking about this, but I spoke to Jake for it. And as we were saying that, like, we want to do this podcast for us more so than for people to listen. But we put it out there in case people listen. And it would be nice to hear people hear our opinion and stuff like that.
I was I sat thinking about this for a while. Do we want the show to be entertaining, or to like reflect us well, like to be genuinely what we're like and what's fun and stuff like that? So like we change it a bit because like we keep it list here. That's more so because we can't leave dead air and stuff like that. That list is slapped together in a few minutes and we're already going off topic and change and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But anyways, let's say me and Jake sitting down in a room a normal day. We laugh a lot. We're fun. We find each other fun anyway. I don't know, but other people mind. We laugh like that. But a lot of the time we just talk about really serious stuff. And like we're good mates. That's kind of stuff that's going to happen. Like if someone's having a shit day, they're going to tell their good mate about it. It's just the kind of stuff we talk about. What I mean is, do you talk about that kind of stuff in the podcast? Because it's a realistic representation of what we talk about, but it's not entertaining. But people might want to listen to it. Like I know I follow other podcasts, and there's times where like people on the podcast have started crying, like, but you really want to listen to it. It's because you're emotionally invested in those two, because there's two people as well that host this podcast. You feel like they're your mates, like you've listened to hours of them speak the stuff that you care about and stuff like that, and you know their opinions on it, and you have your opinions on it, and you feel like you're part of the conversation. But so when they're just saying funny jokes, yeah, it's great. But when they're talking about realistic stuff, it's also I really want to watch it and listen to it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's do we change where we originally started to just record us chatting to focus on what people want to hear, or do we just continue to talk?
Well, you say what people want to hear, and that is very subjective. I think if we do want people to hear, which I mean, I would love that. But I don't know if we should make that a primary goal. But anyway, if we do want people to listen, I think why don't we just make something that we would listen to, and then help people who would want to listen to that find it. Like what instead of pandering to an audience that people want to listen to two clowns and we make jokes and fucking be entertaining the whole time and whatever. That's like we'll leave Carl Pilkington to do that. Like why don't we just sit here and we chat as we do chat. A lot of banter.
Don't be down on Carl now.
A lot of chat. Yeah, no, I'm saying leave that to Carl because Carl kills it. Like Carl Pilkington and Rick Gervais and all, they kill that. But that's not how if we were just talk how we would.
But I mean, it's not as if like we're pandering to an audience. To me, it's like we're going to chat normally here. But if I'm depressed, when we hit stop on that now, I'm going to tell you about me being depressed. But I wouldn't do it on air. And I think if something that's on my mind now, should we do it? Should we talk about stuff like that on air?
Just chat it out as we would in real life.
And I think that could be good. But I think that's kind of like a crossroads now. Do we make stuff off limits in the podcast? Or do we just chat? Because like if we've bleeped stuff, so we can't like abuse people. That might find out.
Yeah.
Like we can't chat shit about people and stuff like that. But like if it's something that me and you on our own could talk about and it doesn't affect other people, I think we should talk about stuff like that. I think we should talk about serious stuff if it comes up. I think that would be good for the podcast. In that, as I was saying earlier, it's like a snapshot of our week from the past, and I think it would be unfair to us if we didn't make it actually what we think.
We'd be hiding it from not only our future selves when we listen back,
also the people that are listening,
but also to someone who would want to hear a real chat between us. Like,
so I think we should definitely do that. Maybe not now.
But also, I think, like we were talking about earlier, it was kind of hard to do this podcast because we had loads of shit to do and all. I think it would be even harder if we were to have to come in here and, again, like we've been doing all this time doing physics and stuff, put aside everything that's actually important in our heads that we're thinking about and just put on a thing and be like, oh, lol, look at the Kim Kardashian's nude, blah, 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 like jokes, funny. That would be... Also, it would just be more of the same, putting it away in your head and not thinking about it and avoiding it. And it would just be more effort, I think, to come in and try and record. We
might avoid it more.
Yeah.
So I think that we should put an asterisk next to that point as if we have something genuinely that I want to talk to you about, you might want to talk to me about, that we maybe don't want to be recorded or something like that, then we should still do it.
Well, at the very least, don't limit it. Don't be like, oh, here, I'll tell you about that later because I don't want to bring it down on the podcast or get too involved in a serious topic on the podcast or something.
I think we should just be realistic with ourselves or whatever it's out.
Yeah.
Right, deal. Plan.
Hands shaking.
Right. Let's get off this more boring shit.
Can you just doing the crossing on the list?
Yeah, because like I thought that was something that we should bring up, but I didn't want to harp on about it because it just bring it down and shit like that. Like, because more than we talk about serious shit is more banter. So
yeah, absolutely.
Like the first half an hour of this hasn't been a bag of shit, a bag of laughs, like. But alright, let's get on to some fun.
Because we were recorded. What was the one where we were talking about like when we met and stuff? It was like 3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Mog was listening to it in the library. Shout out to Mog. And he was like, oh, is the podcast up? And I linked it to him, and he was like, class, and he was listening away to it. And then he goes, Jake, I was expecting like some lighthearted banter, but you hit me with the feels with that. You and Clooney being all cute about how you met.
This is feels out here, and like this has potential for real feels, like. Which I think is realistic. And I think like we shouldn't try it because you see all that stuff about the fucking I think it was UL or Limerick IT or something like that. See that mental health thing?
I didn't see it, no.
I didn't watch it either because I don't have the attention span or whatever. But like they put up some video, it was like really nice, but it was, like there's a lot more coming out about like chat about real shit. And it's kind of like the main fucking topic on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good idea, and I like stuff like that. But it was on my head from seeing that maybe if something that comes up, we should talk about it on our forum here, the podcast. Like we've fucking 10 listeners, or whatever. It's not much of a forum, but more so that we listen to it, we listen back on that,
and also chat out and not highlight it,
which is a bag of shit. Don't ever do that to anyone. Rip everyone's feelings.
Let's just.
Can you hear that rowdiness in the background?
Oh man, I tell you can. Pure rowdiness.
I'd say most podcasts, if you listen closely, you can hear them same people be rowdy outside. That was me being Pat. Where's fucking Vicky?
Vicky, if you're listening, shut the fuck up, will you? Also, shout out to Vicky. Your big fucking news in Ireland and around the world.
I claim the biggest news in the world this week. Jake disputes that because my word is different than most people's words.
You're a bit biased, but still, huge, pretty huge.
McGregor.
I've when Rousey lost, I saw loads on the internet of just like, fuck her. Yeah, look, she's fucking crying. She got knocked out, or she deserved it, whatever. But when McGregor, all I saw was, I saw obviously some people who already didn't like him being like, oh look, told you, all this shit. But I saw so much respect and just. He was so humble about it. He handled it so well. He's not going to back down and go and cry on Ellen like Rousey did. He's manning up to it. He jumped up 2 weights. He tried for it. Didn't work out. Well, just love for him, which is really, really nice.
Never thought I'd say as like a 21-year-old man that like someone is legitimately like a hero to me. And he really is. As like the way he carried, like he's 6 years older than me, which is fuck all. Yeah. He's like barely older than me. He's just some bloke from Lucan that's like, he was on the dole a couple of years ago, he's wandering around or whatever. Like he's in no way like some fucking movie star in America or something. Like, he's very like realistic person. He's very, I could bump into him on the street tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely could.
I could just pass it and I go, oh, Conor McGregor. But like everything he does right, I think. Like he sells his fights well. It's his job. He trains super fucking hard.
So hard.
He takes chances.
Yeah.
He does like this. See, I saw a thing before. It was like Aim Taunton was like, you have to see yourself as something. Hang on, pause this now. Transition.
Banter.
We're being majorly interrupted this episode.
Yeah, this is
super unprofessional.
No, not only is it a wild change in content. Well, not even that wild.
It's pretty wild. Like, but
I mean,
we haven't laughed much.
we're talking pretty real.
Yeah,
and then we're also getting interrupted to fuck.
But the thing with McGregor, like, he takes chance. I remember the thing he saw. He was like, you have to see yourself in some way. Like, how do you view yourself? And he was like, I just chose to view myself as invincible and unbeatable. Yeah. And even if it's true or not, if you just believe it, yeah. I saw another thing before, it was like, belief is a massive thing. What's the only thing that has been proven to have some form of effect on every illness? What drug? What treatment? Every disease has some form of response to it.
It's going to be belief, isn't it? So you can be
placebo.
Placebo works.
Placebo has a positive effect on everything. Like, 100%. It can't be ignored. Like, you go, oh, those placebo results, half mental, ignore it. Like, it's a legitimate thing. It has effect on it. And if you just believe you're unbeatable, you're slightly more unbeatable than you don't.
It does work, like.
What I mean is, the way he carries himself, like that thing his post when he came out after the fight and was just like...
So good.
He's just like, I lost. And I've been saying it. After like his first fight, people were like going mental. His first UFC fight, apologies, obviously not his first fight. People going mental. Oh, he's going to be the best ever. He's undefeated. I stopped everyone because I'm watching this sport years. No one has ever retired champion undefeated.
Not only has Clooney said that for so long, but we actually put money on him not winning that fight against Diaz.
I called it. I knew he wouldn't because the styles matched up terribly. In that McGregor would be taken down because obviously the way he stands and stuff like that. He'll eventually hit the ground. This is what I was thinking. It didn't work out like that because he initiated the takedown, which everyone was surprised about. He was just shocked. He was just shell shocked. He got
he was shook. He got
stuff happened. He got knocked down. But I was like, in the space of a 5-round fight, I knew he would not knock out Diaz.
No, Diaz.
Diaz is just a bigger man, and for people Diaz's size can't knock down Diaz. Because he has such a solid chin. And Conor knocks down people his own size, so Conor knocks down people bigger than him. He has an absolute touch of death in his hand. He has unspeakable power. I'm watching boxing, fucking kickboxing, MMA years. You cannot teach a solid chin and a heavy hand. And you have to have both to be a real world champion.
Yeah.
No one becomes a world champion with a glass chin. No one becomes a world champion and stays a world champion being just a great boxer. You have to have real knockout. You have to be able to stop people in 12 rounds. Like, you watch Floyd Mayweather, he's gone to decision a lot. You watch Floyd Mayweather earlier, he's knocking cunts out. He had heavy hands, but he's fighting style now, he's more defensive and people are catching up on him and stuff like that. He's an older man. But you have to have both to become a real top drawer fighter. And McGregor has both. His chin was called into question there because Nate pegged him a couple of times. And Nate rolled with a lot of the punches. Nate's a really good boxer. A lot of stuff happened. But what I mean is, I knew that would hit the ground. And the thing with Conor is, if someone's going to take him to the ground, Chad Mendes took him to the ground a lot. Chad submits no one. Chad takes you to the ground with pound on you. McGregor was a bigger man than Chad, and that was never going 5 rounds. Because Chad has been knocked out before. He has known that if you connect with him right, he was not. Aldo knocked him out with a knee. Knee is a lot different than a punch, so that it's a lot more force behind it or whatever. But Chad is knockoutable, and if he takes you down, he's not submitting you. So it's a matter of time before McGregor pegs him. In my head, that's what I was like. I bet on McGregor that fight, he was going to win it. What I'm thinking with Nate is, McGregor was pretty much dominated on the ground by Mendes. Mendes couldn't do anything with it, and I was like, if Nate gets to the ground, Nate is immense with submissions. He didn't really have to be that good this time because McGregor took him down. McGregor was very flustered, and Nate mounted him real quick and pegged him, and it was just choked him out.
Yeah. What
I mean is, if that had been a more even fight, and Nate had taken him down and was in his guard, I still think Nate could have just submitted him. Because I saw a thing today. I follow a lot of people on Instagram. So it was from Henzo Gracie. He's either the son or grandson of Helio Gracie, the fella that invented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
And what he just put on is, doesn't matter how good your Jiu-Jitsu is, if the fella on top of you his Jiu-Jitsu is better, your Jiu-Jitsu is fucking worthless.
Yeah.
Because once you're just better, it's game over. Like, you control someone.
Because all it takes is one.
Yeah, you just have to be better than. Yeah. You can do as much defending as you want. And Nate is just better at Jiu-Jitsu than Conor. And I think they fight 99 times out of 100. They fight 100 times. I think Nate wins 70 of them.
Yeah. And
it's just a style matchup. I think Conor beats Aldo next time. I thought Conor beats Dos Anjos because Dos Anjos has been knocked out. And Dos Anjos kicked the fuck out of Nate. Nate took a year off, he got such a beating off Dos Anjos.
But, you see, all of that aside, and individual fights and style matchups and
that's more technical stuff
hundreds,
that I'm talking about because it just excites me and stuff.
When
like
you're talking about like history books, he brought up history books in his posts and shit afterwards. When you're talking about actual history books, the guy that everyone remembers for boxing, right? You remember Muhammad Ali because he was a character. He stormed in.
He came at the right
big
time.
Wins. He's not.
came at the right time with colour telly. Civil rights movement.
He's not like ever not been knocked out. Like, you know what I mean? He's not undefeated or anything. So when people aren't
he was actually never knocked out. Not until he was well past his prime. I think he was only stopped then. But he was knocked down and he was beaten. But
But like, he wasn't just stormed through, beat everyone. It was the fact that he was like determined and like he had all the things that you'd see in a champion or whatever. A world champion is like all of the things, and Nate Diaz doesn't have them. Nate Diaz is like it was the style matchup, whatever, the fight, but he's just like a scrappy, big mouth. Like Nate's
an incredible martial artist, and it should not be taken away from him, stuff like that. He's incredible and is a great draw, and is a UFC veteran, and he will fight Dos Anjos next, and he'll get the next title shot, and he deserves it. Dos Anjos will beat him, 100%. Put money on that. But what I mean is, again, I'm talking about Joe Rogan a lot in this podcast. He done a thing about Conor. He was like, it was him commentating on McGregor's first fight, I think. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but he just has that something. You can't put a finger on it, but he just has it. And it's something you can't teach. That people are drawn to him. It's probably like the old fucking 11th century fucking general or whatever. People are just drawn to him. People in history, people are just like, and Muhammad Ali did the same thing. You're just like, McGregor came in and had one fight, and the next fight was a headline.
Yeah. That doesn't happen to just anyone.
No.
Like,
ahead because he's Irish and he can talk. But he's a draw. People instantly, the whole country turned on and so want to pay attention to him.
Absolutely.
And it happens to some people, and it's so other people it just doesn't. Like Frank Yeager is my favourite fighter and has been for I think it was UFC 80 something. He fought fucking Tyson Griffin. Amazing, loved him ever since. And he was world champion, pound for pound list. He's up there. Had massive wars, and people loved him. He's just not a draw. He's not a draw, and he doesn't have that thing. So he could batter McGregor next week, and people won't remember him as much as they will McGregor.
Yeah.
McGregor can lose every fight now. People will always remember him because he made an impact. And I think it's amazing, and like I just absolutely love him. I was so heartbroken he got back, even though I knew he was going. Well, that's a lie. You can't know he's going to do anything. What I actually done was I broke it down in my head. I thought Nate would win. I thought me should win. And no matter what anyone tells you, every MMA fight is 50-50. There's too many ways to lose for anyone to be a very clear favourite.
And someone at Paddy Power fucked up, and they took all of the hype and stuff into consideration, and they made it so that the odds were massively skewed.
You always get caught with that. I would bet on every MMA underdog because it's just not. It's worth your while. Mm-hmm. If you lose, you lose. But like, the odds. So like, we got 13-1 on that double. Mm-hmm. Where it should have been 4-1, 50-50s. Mm-hmm. We got we took advantage of the bookies, and it happened again the next time. Mm-hmm. Every time that what you're getting now probably the next time is more people are watching Nate now. Nate goes to fight Dos Anjos. Nate could be favourite for that.
Yeah, and you put money on Dos Anjos.
You put money on Dos Anjos, like that.
Because the Paddy Power aren't.
It's impossible to call MMA. It's so impossible. And that's why there's massive upsets, because people think they can call it and you just can't. There's too many ways to lose.
Yeah. Because there's so many styles you can't.
Yeah. And styles make fights. Yeah, it's just too many ways to lose. Like, you try and do a 5-fight accumulator in MMA, you will never get it.
It's not like football.
Yeah.
Football seems to be like, if you know the season and you know who's managing and you know which way things are flowing.
There's upsets a lot less often. Where you can just call in MMA, there's upsets all the time. On a side note as well, shout out to Misha Tate, love you.
Oh, good God.
And also Well, I was mad into. He kind of looks like Bruce Lee. His name's Eric Silva. He's a Brazilian bloke. He's welterweight, and he was fighting. And I was really looking forward to see him win. And when I went to watch we missed the prelims. We only watched the main card, and he was fighting the prelims, and he got absolutely knocked spark out. And I was like, oh, that's shit. Then I saw a clip from the fight. He went to touch gloves with the other fella, and then he decked him. I was like, Eric, you absolute prick, and he got absolutely KO'd.
So, we might put up the video or link to it or something because it's hilarious. Your man, he throws this cheap shot. He puts out his fist for a bump, and then swings one at him when he comes in for it. Yeah. And then so your man, a couple minutes later, grabs his leg after a kick, pulls him into a punch, and just knocks him out cold. And it's just like an absolute brap because you're being a cunt earlier.
I'm really pissed at that because I really like him.
We should probably talk about Katie now because she's 100% tuned out of this podcast.
Yeah. And I think I looked at we were 34 minutes and we were still before we started. So we talked 15 minutes about this. It was one of the biggest news of the year to me. 15 minutes, okay. You fucking deal with it.
Yeah. And we'll just tell her if she wants to skip 15 minutes.
Yeah, we'll give a link.
We might put a thing in for anyone who just doesn't give a single fuck.
Everyone gives a fuck about McGregor though, because I only talk a little bit about technical stuff. It's more about the actual persona and shit like that. But
and I wouldn't mind hearing people's feedback in general about stuff that we talk about.
Especially the first half an hour,
yeah. People get on to us. I don't know if anyone's listening, but get on to us.
Yeah.
So I want to hear I want to bounce back some stuff and hear what you guys are interested in, blah blah blah. Because I know you guys are sitting in the library listening to this right now. I know a few of you. Just write a little comment what bits were the best.
Yeah.
And which were shit, I suppose.
No, don't tell us all shit.
I'll cry.
Right. Jake sent me a link yesterday to listen to Kendrick Lamar's new album. Not a new album.
Kendrick Lamar, in between, he released the absolute best album of last year, To Pimp a Butterfly.
You talk about this for one EP, but I can just hear you, right?
Okay. It was unbelievable. Everyone was expecting something to go off Kendrick, and every single time he knocks it out of the park. If you haven't listened to Pimp a Butterfly, get on it. Even if you don't like rap music, if you
what would you with your life?
It's amazing. Even if you don't like hip hop music, you will like this one album. I'm convinced that every genre of music has good bits in it. Yeah. And you can convince yourself you don't like country because you listen to fucking Dolly Parton or something. But if you get into Johnny Cash, it's unbelievable. It's a style, and he knocks the style out of the park. That's what Kendrick does for hip hop music. Yeah, just be open-minded and listen to it. Because not only is that album unbelievably produced, the lyrics are unbelievable, he has amazing features on it, all these big artists and stuff, but it's a concept album, and every song links together and there's an overarching message, and it's important. The messages in it aren't vapid, they're not about some girl he likes or whatever.
What's vapid?
Vapid's kind of like empty and meaningless and stuff. Every song has this. It's Kendrick thinking like a philosopher and analysing what's happening in the world, what's going on, why people are the way they are, and how it's a lot about race and stuff because that's big in a lot of parts of America and stuff. But it's a powerful album, and he cuts back at the very end to this interview that Tupac did back in the 90s sometime, or whenever the fuck, I have no idea. But he cuts back to
90s, yeah. Tupac was around 1993, I think.
And he cuts it, and it's amazing. He cuts it really well. It's like Kendrick talking to Tupac, and Tupac, he takes his answers from this interview and he cuts it so that they're having this chat at the end of the album. And
it's really fucking cool.
He's calling back to, because Kendrick was actually on the set of California Love, the music video.
Was it?
Because it was filmed in Compton.
Yeah.
And he went down and he was in the music video for California Love, and it changed Kendrick's whole, Tupac was his icon. And so he goes back, and at the end of this album Tupac's dead, and he's like, Pac, I need to talk to you about this. The same shit is going on, we're being discriminated, there's these same problems, I'm having issues. And he's like, I want to chat to you. And Tupac gives him this message, and it's just, it's powerful.
It's really fucking cool.
And not only that, but there's catchy bits of the album. The album's amazing.
Yeah, it has the stuff you want in an album is what you want. Yes, catchy tunes.
Yeah.
Like you can everyone wants some catchy tunes and some superficial shit, and then there's like the deep stuff that keeps the likes of you and me. I listen to some of that.
So you got your King Kunta and everyone's like it's on the radio and stuff. But then you got how much a dollar cost, and it's like, damn, you listen to that, you listen to it a few times and you hear the lyrics, and sometimes they don't stick out at first, and they stick out, and you're like, fuck.
You got absolute feature from George Clinton as well, which anyone that has that many colours in their hair is cool with me.
But anyway, the point is, he released some stuff that he's been working on after that that's not really going to fit onto an album, and it's called Untitled Unmastered. None of the songs have any titles. They're called Untitled 1 through 8. He has dates after them as well, the dates they were recorded, and every one of them is just like they're not produced. They have features on them and stuff, but they're not like album ready. But you can tell
they seem like diary entries, just random shit kind of like.
But even in that state that they're not on an album and fully fleshed out and part of a bigger message and stuff that Kendrick would normally produce, they still, you can tell that they're just like well done, and you can feel the quality out of them, even though they're not part of something like To Pimp a Butterfly.
You know, you're talking about like the message and shit like that. I was killing time the other day because I just didn't want to study and I was procrastinating.
Yeah.
So I was flicking around on YouTube, and a lot of my YouTube suggestions stuff, it's kind of always MMA and funny black comedians. That's all I watch on YouTube. Amazing. I love stand-up comedy. That's a hobby of mine in years. I just listen to all of it. I spoke before about Def Jam. One of my favourite peoples on Def Jam was a fellow called Eddie Griffin. He's really well known. You'd know his head. He's a mad little head. But his name's Eddie.
I do know him.
Eddie Griffin. He's fucking brilliant. But it was like a 25-minute interview with him I watched, and it was fucking brilliant. Like, he has all these mad views, and they're kind of like radical views, very pro-black, anti-establishment, kind of in some ways anti-white.
It's a bit radical.
Yeah. And like he's a lot of the kind of conspiracy theories and stuff like that, and you kind of go, right, he's probably a bit nuts. Like a lot of his views are probably wrong. Like I've heard him say stuff in stand-up, like he was talking about the origins of the Crips and Bloods, and he had it wrong. He had like more of he had like the myth behind it more so than the actual facts, and he's very loud about his opinions, and some of them are not right. It's not a great thing, but like. You can see he kind of cares and stuff like that, and like he's really good. A lot of his opinions make you really think he's really interesting. But he was talking about because of what he was around late 80s to now, so he knows everyone, every black entertainer, sports person, actor. He was an actor, stand-up comedian, musician, all of it. He was on The Chronic. He does like an intro bit in The Chronic.
Awesome.
And it's not even an intro. It's like just a spoken word piece in the middle. It's just him giving out. But he's just a really funny fuck because he told a story about it. He was like sitting in a club with like Dr. Dre and all that, and he starts talking about women and how they're like all out to get him and all this because he was full of steam.
Yeah.
And Dre was like, I want that in my next album. And I was like, yeah, right. So he brings it into the studio and he's sitting down there at like 2 o'clock in the day or whatever, and they're chatting away, and he's like, you want a drink? And he's like, yeah, give him some champagne. He's drinking away. And he's like, well, when are we going to do this? I'm a busy man. And he was like, I'll get him another drink. And he just kind of kept giving him a drink. And your man's like, come on, I need to go. Like, let's record this shit. And Dre's like, get another drink. And he's keeping it for ages. And he eventually flips and he's like, motherfucker, hurry this shit up. And he's like, get him in the boot. So he wanted to get him to that level of kind of drunk rowdy that he was at the night before to get it the perfect level that he heard the night before. And he's like, get him in there. He came up with the phrase, thirsty bitches. On that thing. He just made up already like these thirsty bitches. It's fucking brilliant. But he's talking about all this stuff, and he talks about Tupac because he knew Tupac, friends with Tupac,
of course.
Friends with Michael Jackson, friends with Bill Cosby, and he talks about them all in this interview. It's brilliant. Was I telling you about the Michael Jackson thing? That he was talking about Michael Jackson was an absolute stone cold pimp.
Was he?
Not like pimping women, but he was just like he was a lot more gangster than people talk, kind of like you see a little gay voice he was talking about all this stuff. He was talking about like he met Michael Jackson. One of Eddie Griffin's most famous bits is Michael Jackson on crack. Hilarious. And he talked about he met Michael after that, and Michael was like, that's funny shit, or whatever that. Because the opening line of that bit is like, I think Michael Jackson's on crack, because anyone that fucks up their face that much is on something. And he met Michael Jackson's like, oh fuck, he's gonna kill me over this kind of shit. Like, Michael was like, yeah, it's funny, whatever. And he was saying, like, Joe, when Michael Jackson went trial for the molesting kids thing, he was saying that later on, like, that those 3 kids came out, they all admitted that it was completely false, and that their parents put it up for money, and one of the kids killed themselves since.
Holy shit.
And that supposedly that no one has ever like mentioned that in the media again, and people still think Michael like molested kids, all this and stuff.
That's fucking terrible.
And stuff like that. Like, but he's convinced that like the media are out to get black entertainers, and she can't get out clean. And then he starts talking about Bill Cosby, and he's talking about all this kind of stuff, and he's like really defending Bill Cosby, and you're kind of like a bit iffy. But he has some really decent points behind and stuff like that, and you're like, but again, you're not sure where his opinions are coming and like how much fact is behind his opinions.
Well, Bill Cosby's an interesting one, because Bill Cosby, like, it's past the statute of limitations for a lot of the women coming out of the woodwork.
He mentions that.
Like, there's hardly fucking 27 women coming out of the woodwork being like, yeah, he molested me, or yeah, he did this stuff, or yeah, he came on, like, but various levels of stuff.
You should watch the interview. Just watch the interview. I'll link it. We'll put a link in this video or whatever. But he was talking about Tupac, and he was talking about like how he like, loved Tupac and all this, and they were real good mates, and that like he said no one had like the social message that Tupac had since. And he goes, they talk about it was J. Cole. Is he a rapper?
J. Cole, yeah.
I've never heard of him. He was like, except for J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. And he started talking about
J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar are best mates, and they both release slightly different styles, but both unbelievable rappers. You get on it. They're like the 2 biggest names in like high quality hip hop. If you want like meaningful hip hop, like like we were talking about serious shit. There's some rappers that are pretty good, and they're kind of entertainers and stuff. Yeah. Kendrick, he's got a bit of entertainment stuff, and he's got actually more of it than J. Cole, because like that's partly why he's gotten so famous. He's a better lyricist, but they talk about serious shit, and it feels way more real, and way more like you'd come back to it and stuff, because it is so real. Here, I need to piss as well.
Okay, so we should be more professional with this and piss beforehand.
I did piss beforehand. I just have a tiny bladder.
Right. There's a few bits on this that I want to talk about now.
Shall I do a transsexual and we just come back over?
No, you go piss. I can just chat to the listener, and you can just chat over here. Right? So on the list of stuff that we want to talk about, there was one very specific bit that I wanted to talk about, because it just came out in my head, and it's like a topic I want to hear Jake's opinion on. Right? If let's say me and Jake real good mates. If Jake introduces me to someone that he doesn't like, what's your opinion? Do you have to instantly not like that person, or do you wait? What's the story?
Good question.
Because me and Jake know a person, right, that I know through Jake, and Jake doesn't like, but I like. I think they're alright, but I don't know him as well as Jake. But in my head, I can't be that nice to that person because Jake doesn't like him. And I think it's unfair, but if the roles were switched and Jake liked someone that I introduced him to as someone I don't like, I'd be salty. And I've a bit more crazy ex-lack in me than Jake. Like, he got a haircut a while ago and asked me did I want to go, and I got a bit salty, I'm not gonna lie.
Even though he got his haircut, like,
I got my haircut like 3 days earlier, but I wanted to be asked.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on this? That's what I have written down here.
Yeah. Oh man. It's a tough one, because obviously whoever it is that you don't like, you want your mate to not like them as well.
Yeah, you have to.
But I think if you're just disliking them for no reason, then you can't really expect it. But if you're disliking them for a solid reason, and you can make a case that they're dislikable or even hateable, though that's rare enough.
I actually have a really cool example I just thought about.
Okay.
For this.
Go ahead.
My auntie and uncle have some really weird mates.
Okay.
Not particularly nice, some of them. There's 2 in particular, right? And they really like this one fella. He's an asshole. He's a horrible person. Cheats on his wife the whole time. Has definitely hit his wife. I hate him so much. He came on to my mother before while I was in the room.
Ooh.
I had to be pulled out of the house because I tried to murder this fella. I was like 16, and like he's had like looking down my mother's top and stuff like that. His wife was there as well.
Ooh.
I'm in the room as well. If my father was there, it would have been insane. He would like your man would have been a literal pile of pulp on the ground. He's a horrible, horrible creature.
Okay.
He's not even the person I'm actually thinking of. He just popped in my head there. I hate that cunt. Fuck you. But there's this other
name him. Sounds like a cunt.
No, I don't want to know. But there's another fella who they're friends with as well, who is a horrible person, who all the rest of our family dislike him. But he always comes to like, so let's say their daughter's 21st, he's there, she's friendly with the family, and we're all there as the family. We used to be next door neighbours. He rented the house next door to us. So my family lived in this house for years, and we had our neighbours, and our neighbours moved, and they rented the house to this couple, and we knew him through my auntie or whatever. And I'd say 3 nights a week he'd come in the horrors and kick the fuck out of his wife.
Oh,
you can hear it, hear it through the walls. Batter her, like horrible man. He's like we've heard him kick shit out of his wife. Well, I remember before, it was really late one night and he brought a couple of lads back to his house. They were having a session, the wife was giving out, and he went upstairs, kicked the fuck out of the wife, made so much noise. When my father went in, smashed down the door, like was banging on, your man wouldn't answer the door. Your man hid.
Oh.
Instant pussy. Hit. My father's not much smaller than me. He's like an inch smaller than me. He's like 5'9". Scary bloke. He has that Roy Keane scariness about him.
Yes.
Genuinely scary bloke. And your man wouldn't answer the door. Your man's a fucking big lad as well. He's like fucking your height, wider than you, big farmer like.
Yeah.
And my father said, I swear to God, if you don't leave a woman alone and shut the fuck up, I'm going to come in here and kill you all. And went back into the room. Your man hit your woman again. Went upstairs, blared a load of tunes.
Ooh. That's...
Father went in, kicked in the door, baseball bat, police call, absolute carnage. And then your man was... So you see him a couple of weeks later at an event, like, whatever.
Oh.
So like, father doesn't talk to him, mother doesn't talk to him, whatever. But because so many people don't talk to him at these events, he's gotten really weird now. That like the kind of outside kind of people he'll try and talk to and be friends with, like. So I went to it was my cousin's 21st, and he's buying me drinks all night and chatting to me for ages. And I kind of steamed up and chatting away to him. But I know he's a horrible person, and I know everyone in my family dislike him. And he's there being super nice to me. So like, he's never done anything to me but be friendly.
Yeah.
So what's the thing there? So I remember thinking about that. Like, do I have to instantly hate him because I know he's terrible, or do I have to take him on our interactions?
You know,
I chose to hate him instantly because he is terrifying. Yeah.
But there's an interesting. I don't know who I was talking to about it, but I was talking to someone who had a kid for a couple of years, and they were telling me about raising kids in general, right? And they read some book about it or something, but it was basically like, if your kid is about to go climb a tree and you know that they can't climb the tree, right? You have 2 things you can do: is you can let them climb it until they fall,
yeah,
and they probably won't. Don't let them go too high, obviously. But if they fall, they learn the lesson themselves, and it hits way harder than if you were to just stop them before they go up the tree.
Yeah.
So I think if you learn that he's not a great guy firsthand, you're more likely to be like, it'll feel more real or whatever. It's more legitimate than for you to just. But I think you can't ignore it. I don't think it's great black and white. I think you have to take on board that person doesn't like them, and obviously don't go into mad trust mode and like befriend them and shit. Be hesitant, but at the same time, don't take the friend as gospel and be like, you're the devil or whatever. Yeah. You know. So
yeah, I think that's good because let's say in a situation that made me think of it, I'm going to continue to be friendly to that person.
I have no idea who you're talking about. Ah, okay.
And until they really annoy me, and I'm like, I see what you're trying to do. But it will happen eventually, obviously. But
yeah, okay. But see, I think there's different levels as well. I mean, someone who's just annoying and someone who's...
The person who made me think of this thing is the very low scale, and then the example I just gave is the very high scale there.
Yeah. One that's actually a deplorable person.
Yeah.
I just realised we're like an hour and 8 minutes, right?
We're on really.
And do you know what I think we could do, right? We could sayonara here, and we could bring back the half episode that we had. If you listen back to episode 1, we had a half episode. And then if someone is bummed that we don't do an episode next week, they have an extra half an hour, whatever. We'll do another. We could do another 20 minutes or something, just as like an extra.
Do you want to just leave instead of half episode? Because like, we'll just give them a long episode. You can have episode now if you want, but I think like the stuff we haven't done yet is like our features, which are very much part of the episode.
True.
Where if we just rock out like an hour and a half episode now, like I know most of the people that listen to this don't listen to it in one go, because you don't get an hour to listen to them, and they listen to it and they're like all about 15 minutes in, and then they're all about 25 minutes in. It's just going to take them longer to do it. They've spaced it over an extra week or whatever.
Yeah, because they do, like, I say time off, but I mean, we just don't have lectures for the next 2 weeks. Everyone has loads of shit to do. But
I know my mates in Waterford that listen to it in chunks as well, of when they're like getting changed something, they'll leave it on 15 minutes, pause and they'll listen to it again in 15 minutes. They do it in chunks of that, so I think it'll be. I'm going to vote for an extra long episode instead of a half episode. Do you think of half episode?
No, I think we should go for it. Right. I was only thinking because.
I get exactly what you're on about, but I think if we had done the features and left out some of this stuff, it would have been better to do a half episode. But the fact that like the only things that are in every episode we didn't do yet, we should run with that. Mm-hmm. When I made a list of the order we should talk in, I should have put that earlier, but I didn't expect the kind of serious stuff we were talking about at the start lasted half an hour. I was expecting that to be like a 2-minute conversation. Yeah, that ran a bit too long. We could cut it at the start, and that'd be a half episode. Actually, no, that's serious. I want people to hear that.
I think we talked some good stuff there.
Yeah, I'd be interested to listen back to this now myself,
because there's been lots of like interruptions and like we both went for a piss in the middle of this and stuff.
Yeah, I was expecting when you went for a piss, I was like, right, I can hold this together for a minute. I'll talk for like 30 seconds. I was like, so Jake, what's your opinion? You're there like pulling up your pants and shit.
I did notice you were just like, and that's my question. And I was like halfway to a piss. Are we gonna get on to our would you rather, or do you want to talk about this first and then we can?
I think we should go to the feature. I want to talk about one little bit. Actually, no. Yeah, but do the features next. We'll do this another time.
All right. So tell us your. It's been 2 weeks.
Since 2 weeks. Since 2 weeks to the day.
2 weeks to the day since your challenge thing.
Yes.
I want you to tell us what happened.
I failed. I failed and could not complete the challenge. I did not go on a Tinder date in the last 2 weeks.
You went up 2 weight classes. You weren't ready for it. You took a gamble. You know what I mean? Nate's a big guy.
Exactly, right? This is what I want to talk about this now. The reason I decided that I came up with the challenge idea was as like a push start to do stuff that I wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Tinder's around a long time. Everyone knows about it. It's around a long time. I was a bit late to the party, but I have Tinder maybe a month and a half.
Though, all said, you just use it as like a...
Exactly. I just used it as a bit of a confidence boost where I just swipe right to really good looking people, and when I get matches I'm like, oh.
I must be also unreal.
I never spoke to a girl on it. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I thought that was a waste. And I had all these attractive women that have, by swiping right, said that they were attracted to me.
Yeah.
And I thought I was wasting that. I had like 70 matches unspoken to. All of some real good looking women on it, like.
How long were we on it? How long have you been on it?
Like a month and a half. I think it was a month and a half was the earliest one.
Right.
And like, I thought it was a waste. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, I'd be too socially awkward to actually write to any of these people. But like, a few women wrote to me first, and I just unmatched them straight away. Just bottled it. I was like, unmatched straight away. So I was like,
you're a terrible person.
Yeah. So I was like, if I make this challenge, then I actually have to do it. And I did. Like, when we done the challenge, I wrote to some girls. I started conversations with them. And I done what I wanted to do to an extent. Okay. It gave me the push, and I did. I wrote to a couple of girls, chatting to some people like that. I spent a lot of the time chatting to girls I already slept with, which was a very big waste. But
I did actually see on the night of the McGregor fight a really good, like a good solid conversation that I don't think Clooney of a month ago would have ever even started.
Yeah,
and it was a good conversation, and they were talking about MMA, and it was like you could see they got on and everything. But I know you, and I know you wouldn't have started that if you didn't have the push.
Yeah, so I think like it's shit. The first challenge failed. It's not cool. It's like I'm 0-1 at the moment. It's not looking well. And what I mean is, but I still think that it was to an extent a success in that the reason I done it was to try and get a push. So I failed now. You couldn't do it in the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's shit. But now, so I'm going to make a new challenge now to do something else in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to try and do that. But I'm going to still trying to keep up the Tinder date thing.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that as a back burner. I'm going to still because there's no point in getting the push to do this and then failing and giving up.
Yeah.
I have to keep going until I get it.
So you're not going to set yourself a new one?
No, I am. I'm going to set myself a new one as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to have something I'm going to try and do by this day 2 weeks. It's actually going to be harder now because I'm going to do not 2 weeks, 2 episodes, which would be 3 weeks. Because the thing I'm going to do...
Do you want to say it?
Yeah. I may as well go into it. What I want to try and do is I want to try and get up on an open mic night and do a stand-up thing.
Oh, yes! I was hoping this would be one of the things.
Right?
Jimmy's mentioned this before. I think it'd be unreal.
It's again, as I said, I've mentioned it before. It's something that I think I want to do.
A lot of our challenges have been putting ourselves out there.
Yeah. I noticed that as well. That's very much the theme here, is that we're too contained.
Yeah.
And I do notice that about myself. That I'm not as outgoing. I find you way more outgoing than me. You definitely are. And
I don't even know if I am.
And I noticed that about you, and I think like, I wish I was more like Jake and that kind of thing. Like when we go out, you talk to people, and then I'll creep over next to you, and then you'll get me into the conversation more so than me actually being the first one to go out and stuff like that. So a lot of my challenges will be me getting myself out there more so than doing stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I do kind of stuff like that.
do.
Like stuff like just randomly get a tattoo and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of stuff I do more so than talk to a stranger. I'd rather they seem like mad thing, but that's my own kind of personal things. So that's what I want to do. So it'd be 3 weeks time, it'd be 2 episodes time, because we haven't missed a week. And as far as I know a place like this open mics, they think they only do it on a Thursday. So that means I'm going to be in Tenerife next Thursday, so I have 2 Thursdays to do it.
Yeah.
Before we have a podcast, so like
yeah. Okay.
And this is a tougher one even than the Tinder one.
It very much is.
Like I'm not. It's very likely I'm going to fail this one. But I can't think like that.
Do you know what would be amazing?
What?
If you organise a Tinder date, challenge this one for ages, and say, let's go on a Tinder date.
To an open mic night.
To an open mic thing. I'm going to get up, I'm going to make a fool of myself. So
man, it's going to go great.
No, I don't think anyone's ever done their first stand-up and not had at least one moment where they're like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like they have this moment. I'm pretty sure that's like trial by fire is open mic in general for everything. But you go up and you kind of like you put yourself out there and then whatever, and then you can go on that date and you can kind of laugh about it and forget about it and whatever.
That could be cool.
And you kind of tie them together. That's just a possibility.
That's a cool idea.
But I will definitely be there to the open mic thing.
Oh, yeah. What I think I'm going to do is I've written some stand up before. I've told you about it. I remember talking to you like right after done it. I was like, I spent like I think I wrote like about fucking 7 minutes or something like that. I timed myself saying it. I think I'm going to practice that for a couple of days. I just say to you.
How long is an open mic thing? How long is it?
Like a minute or 2.
Okay.
5 minutes. 5 minutes max.
Yeah. I wouldn't imagine it'd be more than that. Because they I assume open mics get like dirt people all down and just pull them off.
Yeah.
But
so I'm going to do it with you soon.
Okay.
I'm going to do it with you in the next 2-3 days.
Okay, awesome. I'm totally down for that.
Right.
If you want an update on my challenge, right?
I do.
I haven't completed it, but I have been learning lots of songs for it in whatever spare time I get. Like waiting for dinner to fucking cook or whatever. It's come in and play.
We pick the shit time to start these things. We're under a lot of pressure. We don't have a lot of time constraint. We're in the summer. We're both going to be hopefully working full time. Like finish at 5 o'clock having nothing to do. You can learn a lot of songs and go busking and shit like that. You can arrange dates and shit like that. We picked the shit time to start this, and I think we're going to run out of challenges pretty quick. We could have absolutely left this for a while, but still, go.
Well, keep rolling with it. Actually, I was saying to my mum the other day, it's the difference between working and college. When you finish college at 5 a.m. lectures and labs and everything, you can't just go off and do stuff and forget about it. Yeah. College is kind of always in your head, especially your course. Like our course is real full on. I never really stop thinking about it, and I go to bed thinking about it, and I fit in hours to work when you shouldn't be fitting in hours. Getting up early, going to bed very late, stuff like that. But I was talking to Hando. Shout out to Hando if you're still listening. We talked about his gig before in the past, and he was saying if we do get another gig, that he wants to play some songs on the ukulele because he's recently acquired a ukulele. But he's like, I don't like sounding them on their own. I would love a backup guitar. So he listened to the podcast, and he said, you were talking about wanting to play live and wanting to busk and stuff. I would very happily get you up there and play 2 or 3 songs in backing guitar for him on the ukulele. So that's
very cool.
That's another step towards.
You could do that on the reg as well.
Because what I actually want to get out of this busking thing is, I play guitar. I've been playing guitar for like 8 years, 9 years, something like that. But I haven't. There's no real push for myself to get way better than. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I like to improve myself, whatever. And I've gotten pretty good, but I always like, I can just be like, whatever, fuck that. Like, I mean, I just do that in my spare time in my room, whatever.
Other people's opinions are going to affect you. Like, you don't want to make a fool of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is kind of a drive to present something out. Like, go out and busk and like play 20 songs and, you know, whatever.
I've heard Jake play the guitar a good bit, because when we upload this and stuff like that, he just starts playing away. Guitar always kind of go around. He's absolutely emosh as fuck. Like, when he plays, if I had a vagina, it'd be wet. He touches your soul. It's so deep. Like, just me.
That sounds pretty gay.
Pretty gay, but it's pretty fact as well, man.
Thanks, bro.
Connects right to the heart.
We'll jam out some tunes on the street. Get some homeless fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Can have a little crowd of women.
Oh yeah.
All those sexy homeless women.
That's the title of this episode. 100%.
Fuck. Lol.
All those sexy homeless women. Clooney's dying.
Oh. I'm choking on water. Fuck. Anyway.
Oh my god.
We do a transition here and pick some would you rathers. Finish up on that.
Yes. You do a transition this time.
Transition.
Those are very different tones, man.
Yeah, I can't remember what tone I was in. Since we paused that, I'm kind of have to get a bit sleepy and a bit saltier now. So slap through this, let me go home.
Okay. Number 1, would you rather? Would you rather be 3/4 your height or double your weight?
Ooh.
And double your weight in fat. I'm not talking you get buff.
You can't get swole.
I'm talking you become a fat mess. How much do you weigh now? You weigh something like fucking
9.5 stone.
What's that? 70 kilos? 60
kilos. 62, I think. Yeah.
But you go to 125 kg of fat.
Fat mess.
Or how tall are you now?
5'10".
Actually, funny story with this.
Yeah, I was thinking of this.
One of the listeners, new listeners to the last couple podcasts, noted when they met Clooney in real life that he sounded taller on the podcast than he actually was in real life.
I think I look shorter because I'm walking around with you and you're a giant. I think it reflects unfairly on my actual height.
Alright, so if you do not know Clooney and you're listening to this right now, I want you to guess his height first.
I just said 5'10". 4 seconds ago.
Fuck. You said it so quick. I will bleep it. We'll bleep it.
Can't believe it again. 5'10", 5'10", 5'10". Get fucked.
Bleep. Bleep. That was what that just was. You're gonna go home now, catch your bus, and I'm gonna be there like bleep, 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 bleep.
Yeah, but Jake is 6'4" and makes me look like a midgie walking around.
Alright, so you're 5'9". You'd have to drop to
5'10", come on.
5'10". You'd have to drop to like,
Don't try to do the maths, you have to drop something small.
but you'd have to drop to like 5'4", 5'3", 5'2". It's just short enough that it's like Clooney's now a midget.
I think I'd be a fat mess.
I'd probably go fat mess.
No, but 3/4 your height is a normal human's height. I'm on the border. I'm on like the smaller side of average. I'm a midgie then.
Well, what do I drop into? I'm dropping to something like 5'9".
You're dropping to a little bit smaller than me. You're dropping to Hando's height.
No, I want to be.
No, you're dropping to like Alina's height.
I like my height.
Which is human height.
I'm a bit skinny, so just fucking.
Yeah, I think it's because we're both not that fat that we can both get away with being fat messes. Yeah, I'm gonna go with fat mess too. Yeah.
Fat mess. Also, shout out to Moon. Katie said at one point that Pablo Escobar was a sexy man, and it was partly because of his power, and like completely despite him having like a belly and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like you're fat and unattractive and all this stuff.
No, you gotta own it.
And I saw some article a while ago about dad bods. Have you heard of them? Like Leo DiCaprio putting on a bit of weight. He's getting always like 50s now. Fucking Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
What's his name? He's in the new season of True Detective. Whatever that. Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn putting on a bit as well. People are saying it's attractive.
I also read an article that said the only universally liked feature on males, most all demographics, for women, is height. It's the only thing that unanimously they like.
Interesting.
More so than like you've seen ugly people kind of get. Some people find ugly, like not particularly good looking people attractive, like kind of heavier. Some people are into like fat guys, hairy guys, bald guys, all that. Universally, women are into taller men. As
in, like, all other things aside,
they
pick the taller lad.
Yeah.
Totally believe it. And if you, speaking of Tinder, if you go on Tinder, people are like, if you're under 6 foot, swipe left.
Yeah.
Like, being bitches, but
yeah.
Alright, hit me with one.
I'm gonna go for my least fun one.
Okay, just get it out of the way.
We'll build up because my last one is funny. I like it.
Alright, go on.
Right. Do you have one day? Do you go back one day in the past of any time you choose, or one day in the future?
Now, can I fuck shit up?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I go back and I appear in that time and I kill Hitler and I come back. Like that kind of.
You can do that.
Because
you can go back and drop kick Jesus if you want.
Oh man. Can I bring a camera?
Yeah.
Oh. Imagine bringing back, but this is Jesus, lads.
You and the GoPro, just selfie with Jesus, dropkick Judas, and you're out.
Selfie with Jesus. Watch out for that Judas, lad. And then
he's a bit of a Judas. What?
But see, I'm reading the book right now. It's called
JFK.
Yeah, it's called 22 something. Actually, what's the date of it? 11/22/63. Stephen King's like 5th latest novel or some shit like that. That guy's a wizard. It's been like 2 minutes and he has 5 novels out. But in that, your man goes back and attempts to stop. Oh, no spoilers. He attempts.
Well, if you Google the date, 22nd of November, 1963.
No, I'm not going to spoil what happens in the book.
Oh,
because the book didn't actually happen.
Oh, right, never mind. You're going back to the past.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the past because I like the idea of being able to fuck shit up. Like, it'd be a lot. Give me a bit of thought, and I'd pick a day and pick a time and pick some bullshit I want to do.
Yeah.
Go and slap someone on live television in the face. Yeah. But I'll decide that at a different point. But definitely, there's nothing interesting about the future other than I think the surprise of what's coming next. Because how am I gonna pick a day in the future? Unless it's something that I know is going to happen, like, so I say, bring me to the day of the first.
Well, you can do that.
You know what I mean?
You can go to an event instead of a day.
Yeah, that's how I'd pick my day. As in, it's like, bring me to my deathbed, or bring me to like the first shuttle launch to Mars, or something, or human mission to Mars. Or, I can pick something like that. But that's kind of exciting that it's on the way. I rather know, because I can do more damage and whatever back in the past, because I know what has happened around that time.
You jump forward 50 years, find out what happens. You can jump forward of all the shit that's you can invest in. You jump back, invest in, come back with you.
Very true. You
can find out all the sports results for 50 years, doing fucking
Back to the Future.
Bit retarded, like.
You jump forward and then you're just like, Jugal. Get back in that and come back here and invest all your money in Jugal.
Yeah.
2 blokes in the garage. Yeah, fair.
2 Muslim blokes in the garage.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, do your other one.
Okay. Would you rather live your life? It says, would you rather live one life for 1,000 years or 10 lives for 100 years each? I think you're getting reincarnated each time as a different person.
Yeah. I know it's lasting 100 years, and you can choose the type of life that you're born into. each time. Each is the 11 options there.
Yeah, you always get to pick your life. So either you can be like, I want a sample, I want like
I want to live 100 years born as a fucking street kid in India. And you can go, right, 100 years later I'm dead. You live 100 years as a bajillionaire Russian oil baron or something. You get...
Or if you already know what life you want to live that for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Because there are some cool lives you can live for 1,000 years. As in...
You can acquire knowledge so much.
Realistically, as the one life for 1,000 years.
And you'd be the only person that could live for 1,000 years. So you'd instantly be the ruler of the world, like.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're gonna have acquired so much knowledge and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you get... If you're picking your life that you're gonna live 1,000 years, you just pick like Scandinavian bloke. Because they're all tall, good looking, whatever. And then, because you're living 1,000 years... doesn't really matter then, because whatever else, like all the differences kind of fade away after 1,000 years. As in, like you're going to acquire so much knowledge. You're going to have seen all the world. Doesn't matter where you plant yourself, as what I mean.
Yeah.
Like there's no point in starting in a pretty country or starting thing, because you're going to go everywhere and see everything.
You'll get to the same point almost certainly.
So you may as well just pick the tallest, strongest,
you pick
prettiest.
The stuff you can change.
Yeah.
How you look. Yeah, I suppose.
Because,
so why are you going for?
Oh fuck, 1,000 years though. Oh, that's a good one. No, I'd like 10 years.
I 10 as well.
Because you
get so many points of view.
Wisdom is great.
I think you get... I don't make the rule that you remember your other lives.
No, that's different. That's cheating. I think the rule should be at the end of the 10 lives.
Yeah.
You get to look back on them. Because living 10 lives in 100 years...
Yeah, no, like you're not born as the 9th baby, like going, I remember the other 8 lives or whatever. At the end, you get to... You end at the same place after 1,000 years. Have you lived one life for 1,000 years or 10 lives?
And look back.
Because you have to think, you're losing...
Yeah, I'm going to go 10 lives.
You're losing the first 20 years of that 100 years for the 10 times.
Yeah. You're using the first 20 of each of your 10 lives.
Yeah, we only use it
totally
once,
worth
let's say, in the 1,000 lives.
It's so worth it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 100 lives as well. No, 10 lives, 100 years.
I think I read this really cool thing about like different ideas, like just imagination, what happens when you die, and things that you couldn't really think of happening and stuff. And there's really cool things, like there's obviously reincarnation and purgatory and heaven and hell and stuff, but there's also stuff like when you die, you go into the mind of your spawn, like you go into your kid's mind, and you can't affect anything, can't do anything, but you see it and you experience the world, and you go on as like you continue as seeing the world, and it's just I mean, it's obviously kind of, you can't ever know, and you won't know until you die or whatever happens, but it's just interesting to think about. Like imagine you could live on in your kid or whatever, and you want the best for your kid, and then your kid goes on and does cool shit and you're in their head and you get to see it.
That would be cool. Very cool.
But yeah, interesting stuff. What is the game changer?
My last one. Game changer.
I want to hear the game changer.
I took this from a list of would you rathers for couples. Right? Now think about this.
Okay.
Would you rather A, watch me have sex, or B, have me watch you have sex?
I'm watching you all day.
Why?
I don't want to be judged on my whatever's going on.
But you know, I think it's so weird, cause like I'm gonna be like thrusting away and gonna make eye contact with you. It's gonna be weird.
Yeah, but
I completely agree though. When I thought of it, I was like, I'd watch him, man. Have him watch me. And not that I'd be ashamed of it, man. Like, I'm cool, you can watch me anytime you want.
I might take your one that. No, I'm just no, but like the thing is, it's like you are. I don't know. It's something vulnerable about it, and then
yeah.
Because alright, if you're having sex with someone and sex wasn't a real close-up activity,
yeah.
I think it would seem a lot weird. I think sex from other angles can be very weird. I imagine it would look weird. But it's fine when both of you are there and you're alone and all you can see is like 2 inches in front of your face, the next person.
Yeah.
Or whatever, at least close range. But if someone's watching from another angle...
I imagine I'm sitting in this chair right next to this desk and you're peeking on that chair, that bed right there. And I'm just here, just having a look.
Is it... Wait. Question though. Do I know you're watching?
Yeah.
As in, you were literally in the room.
Jake, I'm literally sitting in this chair right here and you're having sex right there. I don't get to say anything, man. I can just sit and watch.
You're gonna get bored so quick and start like tapping stuff and making fidgeting noises and all.
I'm not gonna be just trying to hold back a smirk the whole time while I watch you penetrate this lady. But yeah, I picked watch you have sex because I think you're an absolute snake in the grass and I think you've got some weird shit going on there and I'm gonna find out what it is.
You're just interested.
Yeah, I'm actually, for research purposes, I want to see how you get down.
Alright, on that note, I think we should end this, get this over.
How long with it?
An hour 34.
Oh, that will put some people off at this length. Especially when there's 34 minutes of sop at the start.
Putting people off at this length.
I've never said that before once in my life. On that note.
Alright, goodbye, people.
Right, good luck. There's no episode next week, so that's why you gave me a double long one. So
yeah, I know all of you are holding out for it, but
it's 2 weeks' time. We'll have another one up. And it'll be a recap of Tenerife and stuff like that.
yeah, there'll be those talks. Right now.
And others. Oh, well, Jacob will be after busking by then as well.
Yes, I'll try and sort out, because I might be busking when you're in Tenerife, so I
Yeah,
might
probably.
sort out a random homeless man to take pictures of me.
Yeah, sweet.
Run off with my phone. That'd be a really good story.
Oh,
Sayonara, folks.
good luck.